Good evening and namaskar to all. I'm extremely happy to join in this gathering, which is waited for some time. I think, as the chairman said, it's been since probably early 2023. Although the building was ready by 2022 itself, some interior work were taking place in 23, and therefore I can say I didn't delay it by a year, but did manage to come here. And I must also observe here that this is my first visit as Finance Minister to Kochi. I've come here to Trivandrum. I have certainly come to Thiruvananthapuram, not so much to Kochi or any other part of Kerala. So I'm happy that I have this opportunity to be here with you all on the occasion of dedicating the building, the Aayakar Bhawan, which, like the airport of Kochi, has such wonderful features. In fact, if I can for a minute speak aside from the Aayakar Bhawan, you can go to any part of this country and land in any airport. Until you read the board, you don't know which airport you are in, because all of them are looking the same. Only Kochi airport, even before you land, tells you are in Kochi. And so beautifully the facade has been made, and it was incidentally the first airport to be all full renewable energy, solar powered. And therefore, in keeping with that tradition, I would have been disappointed if the Aayakar Bhawan was any less. But thankfully, they have made it in such a way that it keeps up that good tradition of Kerala in making sure that the concern for green, the concern for being clean and accommodating all kinds of requests for the sake of an efficient functioning has been honored. And I congratulate the CBDT for that. In that the building is energy efficient. It has been given the Griha certification, graded also. And the fact that it has a vertical garden, which I just want to say from what you observe in different parts of the country, particularly in Delhi, is a bit of a task to maintain. But I'm sure Kerala, being Kerala, will maintain that also. And that energy efficiency has been kept in mind and so on. And I'm happy to know that this building with 9 floors with a enviable, I think most of you all are going to sit in the canteen, which has that wonderful view. And it might be the business of the commissioner to say, please come back to your seat, because it's so temptingly nicely located. Normally kitchens are found in the basement. Here somebody has applied their mind to say, no, give them relief when they have their food, let them go sit in pleasant environment. So I strongly am in favor of particularly offices such as income tax will have to have efficient working environment as much as aesthetically designed environment, because somewhat like the police, you're doing some thankless job. And at least your working environment should be attractive enough for you to sit there and do the job. So in that sense, I think this building meets up with the requirement of the staff, the officers, and I wish you all the very best with that building so that you find the working space conducive to carry on with your work. But one point, aside from what is being inaugurated today, since 2019, I am making sure that both for the CBIC and the CBDT, staff welfare in terms of good office space, where there is newer office space required there, new offices get built up. And I'm very keen that also accommodation not just be left for the person to go search for a flat and live. There should be dedicated accommodation built. And in that context, Mumbai seems to be racing faster than the other destinations. Some of the very expansive accommodation for staff, officers have been built, different grades, different sets of apartments, but all meeting all kinds of 21st century standards. And therefore you feel when you post a person in a particular town or a particular area within that large town, they have the necessary working space and families to live together. So it is not a bachelor or a guest accommodation that we are building. They're being built properly, well ventilated, with enough space for staff to have their families together with them. So I'm happy that trend is catching up. And since 2019, but for that unfortunate 2020 year where nothing happened, now we can boast that from among the central government of offices, income tax and GST and customs have all been gradually accommodated both for working area and also for residences. So in that context, I was glad to hear from the CBDT chairman that this 9-floor office, -1, 8-floor working area, will be, together with the old office building that you already have here, will be sufficient to accommodate everybody in this area, and you are not going to be looking for rented accommodation at all. So at least in Kochi, you shouldn't be needing a rented accommodation other than the building where you are now. And this one building should be able to take quite a few of your officers and other staff. And I think there was a time, again, if I can digress, there was a time when at least most of us in the south, I don't know so much about how people responded to this particular fact that I'm saying from Kerala, but at least from Tamil Nadu, Andhra, and now Telangana, there was a time, and I'm talking possibly of early 70s, when people went to the Reserve Bank of India office in Kolkata. Why? They didn't have much to do with Reserve Bank, and that to go all the way to Kolkata. They went there because that was the first office which had an escalator. So it was a big occasion. Reserve Bank had difficulty dealing with that crowd, but they didn't discourage them. Now, I don't know about Kochi's other accommodations, multi-storied without parking space and all that. Your multi-level parking thing may attract a lot of people to come and say, how did you all do this? So you should keep an eye on who's coming. So make sure that it's not a builder who's not an SSC. Yeah. So just a aside, I'm sure there are nowadays many more. You see this far more in Japan. Every road has a multi-layer parking because they think it is not etiquette enough to park their private vehicle on the public road. So roadside parkings you don't see in Japan at all. In every street, by the order of the local authority, there will be a plot assigned in which there will be all these structures erected on which you have this mechanical way of parking. So the roads are always available for moving traffic and never congested with parked vehicles. So I'm sure your building will also stand out as one such a building, which is a good step again. The inconvenience of searching for a parking slot can discourage people from coming and using Aayakar Service Kendra. So that's a very good thought as well. I don't want to make a light of this building, but I think the benefit of such a working space and also the mental readiness of staff who will be in this building would make the place a lot more hospitable for assessees, and more also because of the document which has got released in Malayalam, so that no one is going to be left asking questions for which proper answer is not available, and when it is available in mother tongue, nothing better than that. I hope that tradition is kept alive and you're going to update that in Malayalam. Also put it on the site, the website that you have for this zone, so that customers nowadays who are savvy with their phones, with their computers, can also access the same information through the website. But as regards the final point, which will be amiss for a finance minister not to refer to, is the revenue collection last year, which was very aptly showcased with a sense of pride in the voice when they said we've done 23,000 and look at the rate at which we've done. The countries was 17%, whereas we were at very good. You've set yourself a high bar. This year you can't afford to be lesser than that in the growth. So you make sure that the 17% remains 17 and your 23 or 21% remains this year also. Don't bother about the national average, you will have to exceed it. So there's no way that statement is going to be forgotten by the finance ministry. So with that said, thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I wish you all the very best and a very pleasant working environment in the new building. In particular, I'd like to thank all the former officers, retired senior officers who have come to join us in this function today. Your guidance, your blessings, your working together, and your advice periodically to the officers who are now doing their jobs will be valuable, and I'm sure the officers here will make you feel welcome. And I would invite you to talk and exchange your thoughts with them as much as you feel necessary. Do write to me if there are any issues. I look forward to having those suggestions coming from retired senior officers and also other staff. And therefore that interaction I would think is absolutely necessary for the current set of officers, because it brings in the benefit of experience. So I'm tempted to say one thing more. When I said that the senior officers and their interaction is important, I was randomly today reading one of the old books which I periodically go back to reading. You know, this senior person with experience as against a very youthful, dynamic young person's leadership was even a subject on which Aristotle has spoken. I was quite amused when I read it for the first time, but I think today, even as I say this, off the cuff, this thought comes in my mind. Aristotle really places a lot of emphasis on experienced, wise heads to constantly be at leadership roles, because that experience-driven learning can never be matched by the youthful energy, enthusiasm, not to undermine the youthful energy and enthusiasm. Experience really polishes the wisdom, polishes the enthusiasm. And therefore, I wish I had my phone or something to read out that line which Aristotle says. So I invite the senior and retired officers to do come and periodically exchange your thoughts, because that is the wisdom which leadership needs, and never a knee-jerk response because you have to work to service the time can help or offset the advantage of experience and wisdom which comes with age. So thank you very much.